from Evoker, and we're going to be continuing on with our pant sculpt in this video. So I've already finished off creating the seam on the inside of this leg here, so I'm just going back over some of them now and just making them a little bit deeper. So again, using the sculpt tool and a very small brush, making sure that my fall off is turned on, and then I'm just going to go through and just deepen up some of these seams a little bit. So just along the inside there, and then along the back side as well. So just deepening up the seam a little bit. Okay, the brush there was a little bit too small, so just going in. And just deepening that up a little, making the crease a little bit more prominent. Just making sure it goes all the way around. So you can see this is easier without the second leg there. Okay, and just deepening that up. And again here on the inside of the fly here as well. Just using the pinch just to help pinch this together on the fly. And bringing back both my legs. So having a look at the overall model, I think that's starting to look pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to bring back the patch on the knee. So creating a new sculpt layer, I'm going to use my mask again, just to mask out the shape. Mask out the shape of that patch. There we go, got my brush back. And then we'll end up cutting in the pocket, the patch, so to speak. So first just using a big brush to block in the shape. Just checking my fall off here. I'm going to mess around with some of the fall offs to get a harder edge. Doesn't seem to be quite working the way I want, but this will do. Once I've got the basic shape, I'll go in there with a smaller brush and try and harden off the edge a little bit, so there's less feathering around the mask, because we want it to be a hard edge between the patch and the pant. So it doesn't need to be perfect, but we don't want it to be too wobbly either. So just rounding out the shape here along the top. Again, I've got my concept up beside me to make sure that I get the shape close to what the concept says. And bring this around. Just undoing that because I didn't want to get rid of that part of the mesh, so just Control Z, obviously. And then it's just continuing to try and harden up the edge of this mask. Okay, almost there, I think. Okay, so now moving to my sculpt tool and the fall off brush. I'll just adjust my strength a little bit, and then I'll cut in around this patch. So staying close to the actual mask so that it'll cut in on one side. So just hiding the mask there so I can see how that's looking. I can see a little bit of a funky edge here, so I'm just going to fix that up before I continue with the sculpt. There we go. And again, just shrinking the brush to create a harsher cut. So I just undid that stroke because I went off too far off onto the leg. Just turning off the mask again to see how that's looking. Get in a little bit closer so I can see how we're going. Cut in a little bit deeper around the edge. Yep, I think that's looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit deeper around here. So just because the mask is not visible doesn't mean it's not still affecting that area. So I'm happy with that knee now, so I'm going to create the other one. So same way as before, blocking in the shape and then using the sculpt tool to cut around the edge. Okay, so that one's pretty much done. I'm happy with that. Might pinch these in a little bit, just going around, having a look. Just pinching it in slightly. Go, yep. I'm happy with that. They're looking pretty good. I think we're almost done. What I will do is on the back side here, after renaming this sculpt layer, I'm going to create like an invisible pocket. So just moving down onto the pants layer, so out of the sculpt layer, I'm just going to drag a line using my fall off, just on one side, and then using wax building up around it. So just a pretty simple invisible pocket, just to create a bit of visual interest. And just smoothing out the edges here around the outside of the pocket. Using pinch to bring the edges in together a little bit more. I mean, it'll be more than likely to be hidden by the vest, but just, you know, in case there's animation, it flicks up, it's good to have something on the back rather than solid color where her backside is. Just using the flatten tool just to flatten out the edges a little bit more, instead of having a bubbly wax look. And just pinching it in a little bit more as well. But then I think we're done. I'm pretty happy with how these pants are turned out. So yeah, we'll call it a day here, and we'll move on to the next part of the mesh of the character. We'll do that in the next video.